We never really talked about the stuff because we were just friends, and that's how we define things. There was one, I think, in the 10 years of spending time with him where someone did something and he said, you have a teacher and yet you did A, B, C, D. Don't do that again. That was it. He had a lot of friends, and he had a lot of people who loved him. He was also in the personality typology, he was a number 8. He was big, he was bossy, he was blunt, and if he sat on you, you would die. He was a big man. I don't know if he had any other students. All I know is that the 3 of us, Hussein, Mehrdad, and myself, were with him constantly. There were some other people, but the consequences of doing things halfway. So there was my mother's nephew, I think, Hussein, the other Hussein. He was about almost 40 when he met Hussein. He was married and had a daughter. So he already had a life, and his life was going this direction. Just to tell you the dangerousness of this stuff. He meets Hussein, and they meet at a casino in Reno. Hussein had just moved to Sacramento. He had heard a few things about Reno, so he goes up there and runs into Hussein. Where do you live? Sacramento. Oh, I live in Sacramento too. We have gatherings, we have a shop there. So Hussein goes and visits Hussein in his shop. He invites him. Then you have a gathering. Hussein is sitting in this gathering where Hussein is talking. Hussein the T, as in teacher, and Hussein the S, or maybe ass, as a student. So Hussein the ass is sitting and listening. And all of a sudden, Hussein the ass begins to feel something. And so he waits and waits and waits. It's like 2 in the morning. I've been at the car wash all day. And every time Hussein says, well, if there are no other questions, let's just go home. Let's go, you guys go home. And then Hussein says, I have a question. And it's like 4 in the morning. I look at Hussein and I want to kill him. And then as we're driving home, I said, Hussein, what is wrong with you, man? It's like 4 in the morning. I got to wake up in like 2 hours. He says, as we were sitting and as Hussein the T was talking, I felt something. And so Hussein the ass sees him on a daily basis. And all of a sudden, the course of his life changes. He worked for Pac Bell and he made lots of money. And he begins to read constantly, voraciously. And when he had temperature of 198, he decided to pour some concrete in his backyard. He was consumed by these ideas. But here's the thing. His wife was a shopaholic, and he had trained his kids the wrong way. So when he got really mature in the world of ideas, he couldn't transmit and transfer these ideas to his wife. They wouldn't listen. And then what happened is eventually he stopped showing up to gatherings because his life did not support the ideas. And then you have to make a choice. You can't love 2 masters. And Hussein is very traditional, Hussein the ass. Very traditional, very loyal. So he chose his wife and his kids. There were talks about him maybe walking away from the family, but the guilt and the shame that he felt was just too much. He stuck with them. They have a 2-story, 5-bedroom house. He has lived in 1 room for the past 20 years. Doesn't talk to anyone. He has lost his eyesight for the most part. He's been depressed because this is his soul and this is his physical life, and they're not compatible. And so for the past 20 years, every time, and I don't see him very often, but every time you run into him or you see him, he says, so Hussein, how you doing? I've been praying for death for the past 30 years. It's just not coming my way. Now you laugh, but he genuinely means it because there is no remedy. You can't fix your wife. You can't fix your kid. You can't fix your life. And you no longer have the passion to go see Hussein. You no longer have the passion or the energy. As you get older, you just lose abilities. And so you just sit in your room and you lay in a bed and there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. And there are no friends to talk to. And as you get old, what happens is your body begins to kind of just depreciate. So you no longer say, well, let me read you a poem from Rumi. You say, I had a colonoscopy. And all of a sudden your conversation becomes about the frailty of your physical life and how it's slowly falling apart. So whatever the hell you want to do, you got to do it when you're young. And whatever blessings you have, if somehow you can overcome the fear, if somehow you can nourish the excitement into interest into obsession into infatuation and love, your life will take a different direction. The younger you are, what happens is you will choose things about your life to kind of accommodate things that live inside you. Point I'm trying to make is, should any of you be interested in anything, whether it's philosophy or music or cooking, you know, if, for example, your passion is cooking and you like to cook and you like to eat, or maybe you like to bake, make sure your companion is not diabetic, because then you would be miserable baking cookies, but no one's going to eat them. If you like cooking and you like meaty stuff, don't marry a goddamn vegan. They'll destroy your life, make you feel bad for butchering a cow on a daily basis. So whatever you're passionate about, and that passion is going to kind of guide you for the rest of your life, make sure your friends, your companion, fall on the same line, or at least they understand, or at least they support you. You know, as we say in Persian, if you can't support me, at least don't be a hindrance. You know, I know you're diabetic, I love cooking, just let me cook and then trash them.